Hi all, Heber here. So, since PSVR2 came out, a lot of you guys have been asking me if you can play World of Warships Legends on using the PSVR2 headset. And the answer is yes, you can do that. And it's not difficult at all. In fact, you can play any PlayStation 5 game you want using the PSVR2 headset. Because just like PSVR1 before it, the second version of the headset here comes with a feature called Cinematic Mode. And really what that is a lower resolution version of the output that you'll see on your TV. But then, of course, it is shown in your headset. So it gives you the illusion of sitting in a cinema and playing World of Warships Legends on, the gigantic screen in front of you. I don't know how many inches Sony says that the largest screen is, but I'm telling you, it's big. You can pick the size, of course, and you can adjust that manually. But what's the point of playing in the headset if you don't pick the largest size, right? That's the whole point, because the smallest size is probably around a 90-inch TV, and the largest size, like I said, it looks like your own private cinema. And the thing is that when you play the game like that, you can see here on the screen as well, you actually have to look around. If you want to look at your damage up in one corner and you want to look at the map in a different corner, you have to actually move your head from left to right and physically look up into the corner of the gigantic screen here to actually see what's going on. And that is probably the reason that PSVR 2 is not very good for World of Warships Legends. I don't think so anyway. It's this is a game where you need some, a bit of reflexes, and there's a lot going on, and the stuff that's going on doesn't necessarily happen in the center of the screen like in most other games, for example. You could have incoming torpedoes, and once you hear the torpedo alarm, you'll have to, look around the edges of the screen to figure out where the torpedoes are coming from. And you are losing a few vital seconds doing that. So that's my main reason that I don't think that cinematic mode is very good for Legends. I think you should just stick to using a TV for this game here, to be honest. Now, other games really benefit from this gigantic screen, and one that comes to mind is the new Dead Space game. It doesn't support PSVR as such, but because it is a game all about the feeling of being stuck on a space station all by yourself and fighting these grotesque creatures, then it's all about the ambience and the setting. And then once you put that PSVR headset on, the whole world is blocked out. And if you also put on your Pulse 3D headphones, then you cannot even hear anything as well. And then it doesn't matter that Dead Space, for example, isn't in real 3D, and you can't, look around the monsters like you can in the real VR titles, because you get so engrossed in the game because it is a scary game, and it works really, really well on the PSVR headset. It really does, and that's the case for a lot of games on PlayStation, and. The only reason that Legends isn't a good pick is, like I said, that there's a lot going on the screen, in the corners especially, checking your hit points and then checking if you are going full speed, then checking your damage and then checking the time and then checking the map, for example. It all adds up, and if you play a Battleship, you could probably pull it off, but it still requires a bit more faffing around, really. That's what it requires, and it just tends to get a bit annoying, honestly. Also, something to keep in mind is that the special sense controllers, they don't work with games that don't actually use the aren't made for PSVR 2. So you're going to have to play this game here using the normal controller that you usually use, and that's a bit of a bummer, because I really like the Sense controllers. I like that they are separate, and then you can do the exact same things you can do with the DualSense, except you don't have to have the two hands right in front of you, glued together. But I mean, not a big deal. I can still I'm still perfectly happy playing with the DualSense controller. No problem there. And also just a note here, I haven't, really taken the time to hide my gamer tag here because this is shot on my PlayStation account, my super secret account. But don't bother looking me up because I've already changed the gamer tag to something else. So it's a futile endeavor for those who are going to seek me out on PlayStation. So games that require you to like keep an eye on a lot of things in a lot of different spots on the screen probably isn't the best pick to play in cinematic mode. And if you make the screen smaller inside the headset, which you can, then kind of half of the point is lost there. So I would say just keep playing Legends on your TV because that way your peripheral vision will pick up the stuff that happens in the periphery, of course. And that way you don't have to actually like turn your neck to the left and to the right and up and down to check these things. Yeah, I know it sounds like nothing, but once you try it, you will hopefully agree with me and say that, okay, yeah, I can live without this extra layer of faffing around in this game here. Another example of a game that doesn't work really well in the headset is Diablo, because monsters can attack you from any side, and they usually come from the edges of the screen, and you'll have to actually look at the edge of the screen to be able to see the monsters before they actually get so close that they can hit you. And like I said before, it's like 3 to 4 seconds, because the screen is too big just for your peripheral vision to pick up the movement and then direct your eyes that way. And I mean, that's the whole point of it. So for, like I said, for real-time strategy and, role-play games like Diablo and World of Warships Legends, I wouldn't use the headset. But for pretty much everything else, I would. And that includes YouTube videos. They're excellent in the headset. And I actually watched a lot of them, and it's pretty good. Now, a lot of people go on about like, oh, the resolution is worse in the headset. And yeah, it is worse. It's not 4K. It's probably around 1080p, something along those lines. But if you don't have an OLED screen TV with HDR, then the headset is a very valid replacement. It really is. Because with this headset here, you get an excellent screen with very, very vibrant colors and highlights, and it's also super duper bright. And of course, because it is an OLED screen, it will also show complete blacks. And that's one of the reasons that a game like Dead Space works so well in the headset, despite not being actually built for 3D. Because most of the game is in the darkness, and the few lights there are around, they're usually high dynamic range, and that is supported by the headset as well. So in combination, it gives you some really, really awesome settings and atmospheres that you just can't beat. And also, like I said in the beginning, because you are completely closed off from the outside world, the immersion is just so much better. But in Warships, that's not really the case, because it's not, well, I hope not for some people. I don't think it's a scary game as such. And so half of, more than half, most of the point of the headset is lost in this game here. The little bit of a notch down in resolution doesn't really matter that much. You still have the very nice 60 frames per second frame rate. And sure, you take a hit in resolution, but it doesn't matter that much. What you can do, though, is, for example, if you go on holidays and you want to bring your PlayStation with you, but you're not really keen on bringing your 65-inch TV with you as well, then the headset is a good replacement, because it's fairly small, and you can have your PlayStation and the headset easily in, a carry-on on the airplane, not a problem at all. And just hook it up and play that way. I mean, that's something most people forget about this headset. It's very portable, it's very handy. And if you're one of those people who just cannot live without your PlayStation if you go to visit your grandmother or whatever, then well, this is a good way to get around it. But anyway, as good as cinematic mode is, and it is really good, it's a lot better than the first PSVR headset. I don't know if you've tried that, but that was also technology that's about 7 or 8 years old by now. And in the PSVR 1, the resolution was really, really that bad that it wasn't really an option if you wanted any sort of nice graphics at all, which was a bit of a shame, really. Just missed out on the kill on that Mackensen there. So, I mean, there's plenty of reasons to buy the PSVR2. I know it's expensive. It almost costs the same as 2 PlayStation 5s, almost, which in itself is a bit of an outlay. But the games that are made for the headset, and in particular Resident Evil Village, No Man's Sky, and also Horizon Call of the Mountain, they are just fantastic. They really are. And the Star Wars game as well, I just downloaded that today and got into it. And I didn't expect much from that game, but that's actually a really impressive game. And the gunplay and, of course, the lightsaber play in that game is pretty much second to none. But for cinematic mode, yes, it's definitely an option. And for some games, it works really well. Just lining up for this hierarchy here. We want our Kraken in this game here. And for Legends, it also works. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But in the end, I think a traditional flat screen TV is probably the better way to play this game here. Simply because there's so much going on, and it's just an easier way to keep track of everything without having to look left, right, up, down in the headset all the time. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys, and it gave you a bit of an insight, and I'll see you out there.